Hello everybody, it's the Doctor and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. This is a video on starships. Today I am going to show you properly the Scimitar, I guess you can call them the Scimitar class, or the Scimitars. There's three of them, but I'm going to show you specifically the Tulwar. And I'm going to do a proper video on it now. We are going to do Borg STFs and Voth STFs. I will show you this ship in combat, and I will show you how well it can do. I finally have finished my build on the Tulwar, and I am quite happy with its capabilities and what it can do. I like it a lot better than the adapted Tal Shiar ship that I had before. Now, I am on my Romulan science character. This is Rassilon again. This is my Romulan Psi. So he doesn't do the best DPS, right? He's science. He does the lowest DPS in the game. But with this ship, which is actually one of the ships in this game that can achieve the highest DPS, I do quite well. I have come in, people have done those reports where they generate DPS and all after a battle, your battle logs thing or whatever it's called. And I am not in last place, so I consider that good for a science character. Before we get into everything about doing battle with the ship, I'm going to do that in a separate video. I'll put together the whole Borg, all three Borg space STFs together in one video. This video is an introduction, so there will be a little bit of battle here at the end of this video where I'll show you some of the special features of the ship. But the main one that you probably want to see is the Borg stuff and the Voth stuff, and that'll be in the next two videos. This is an intro video. I'll tell you about the ship. I'll show you my setup. I will show you some of the powers in space, and we'll take a look at it. We'll even visit the bridge because I often forget to do that. But there's a Thalaron generator room apparently inside the ship that I had no idea exists. So I want to go look at that. Okay. So I'm reading this from the Legacy of Romulus dev blog number 29, and it's about the Romulan Dreadnought warbirds. This is on the Cryptics webpage. During the late 24th century, the Scimitar was developed covertly by a group of Remans under the command of Shinzon, a clone of Jean-Luc Picard. Though equipped with numerous weapons and housing a contingent of Scorpion fighters, the original Scimitar's key feature was the ability to utilize Thalaron radiation as a terrifying weapon. Shinzon first used a smaller Thalaron radiation device to kill the entire Romulan Senate, and then railed on the Scimitar's strength to back his overthrow of the Romulan government. Praetor Shinzon attempted to deploy the Scimitar's stellar energy. Yeah, we know this is from Nemesis, so we really don't need to go into all that. Let's see. Since the Battle of the Basin Rift, both the Tal Shiar and the Romulan Republic have developed new variants based on the original ship design. The Scimitar class, the Falchion class, and the Tulwar class of Romulan Dreadnought warbirds represent the Romulan Republic's latest iteration on the technology. So yes, there is a Scimitar class, the Falchion class, and the Tulwar class. And I'm using the Tulwar specifically because it's the most sciencey one. It has extra science console slots that it has put in sacrifice tactical slots for that. The original Scimitar was the most formidable of its time, carrying an unparalleled level of firepower capable of fighting the USS Enterprise E and multiple Mogai-class warbirds simultaneously. While the Scimitar was ultimately destroyed, its design has been used to create new lines of ships equipped with the latest in Romulan technology. All Scimitar-type ships are slow-moving, but have high hull strength, powerful shields, and 5 forward weapon slots. Romulan Dreadnought warbirds come standard with one hangar bay equipped with Scorpion fighters. Scorpion fighters are equipped with plasma pulse cannons. Now I, of course, changed that out to the drones. These dreadnoughts can also equip Romulan drone ships, which can be obtained from standard hangar stores, the Dilithium store, or fleet hangar stores. Each Romulan Dreadnought warbird is equipped with a Romulan battle cloaking device, and this cloaking device can be used in combat but your weapon system and shields are disabled while it's active, unless you have all 3 sets, which I do have. So here's all the stats that are similar to all 3 of the Romulan Dreadnoughts. You've got a hull strength of 40,000 base. You've got a shield modifier of 1.1. You've got a crew of 3,000. You have 5 forward weapons, 3 aft, 4 device slots, 1 hangar bay, 1 Scorpion fighter hangar pet, a base turn rate of 7 degrees per second, so it's a slow-moving ship. Impulse modifier of 0.15. The bridge officer stations is 1 commander tactical, 1 lieutenant engineer, 1 lieutenant science, 1 ensign universal, 1 lieutenant commander universal. So you see it lacks, even the Tulwar lacks a commander science bridge officer position, which means it's a little gimped on the science stuff. Even though it's the closest one to science, it still lacks a commander science station, which is what you want as a science officer. It can equip cannons. It has a Singularity warp core. It has Romulan battle cloaking, and it has the Singularity abilities that come with that warp core. Now, I'm not going to go into each ship. There are the three of them, and each of them have unique properties to themselves. They each have a unique console. Now, if you are lucky enough to get all 3 ships, which I did, I bought, that's the wrong place, I bought the bundle. If you go to ships, Romulan class, they have like a bundle of these somewhere. Romulan Dreadnought bundle, there it is. It's, how many Zens are you? Doesn't tell me how many Zens because I already have it, but it's there anyway, and you can buy it if you don't have it. And the designs of the ships are really similar, but again, it's what's underneath the consoles that make it interesting. So here's the Tulwar one, and I guess we can look at the console abilities through here. Anyway, I should have brought this up. Here's all the stats that I just read out loud for you, but here they are, so you can see them in person. Exactly what I just read out loud. Again, even though this is the science ship, it does not have the commander science bridge officer station. It's got a commander tactical station, which is not really what I want. If I'm going to be a science character throwing out science powers, buffing my Ox power and all that stuff, I want a darn commander science ability. The Romulans, and surprisingly, I'm very surprised by this, the Romulans do not have a really good science ship. Now, you can find that on the Fed side. They have really good science ship options that are built for science officers with full commander science buffs. But the Romulan side, of all people, you would think they would have an op or really nice science ship. Well, they don't. And now maybe the new Solanae one is that, and we'll look at that later on. But as far as this goes, these dreadnoughts, definitely not the best size ships, but there is at least one, the Tulwar, which is leaned toward that because it has more science consoles. Anyway, if you do want to, I guess I won't go into all the details. If you do want to go in and read all of this stuff, it is good information. You will learn a lot about it. Just open your Z store or C store thing in the game, go to Romulan class ships, and you can read each one. You can read about the Scimitar, the Tulwar, and the Falchion, and you'll get all the information you want that way. Just know each one has a unique console attached to it, and by having all 3, you can take all 3 consoles and put them on your ship and get a 2- and 3-piece bonus from that, and it is so awesome. So you'll have the console abilities plus set bonuses by including all 3 from the ships, which also includes a turn rate bonus, which is a positive thing on this ship. Before we look at my build and everything, let's jump to the bridge. Bridge, where are you? Visit Starship Bridge. Because I know I often forget to do this in my videos, but I do want to show you the bridges of ships that, or at least ships that have unique bridges. Not all the ships come with unique bridges, mind you, but the ones that do, I definitely want to show you that. So I don't think I've explored the bridge on this ship myself either yet, so this will be new for me and you. But yeah, I really like this ship a lot better than my last one I had on Rassilon. This ship is pretty awesome, and even though it turns slow, sure, it works really good as a beamboat. It's got a lot of powerful capabilities. The battle cloaking and secondary shields and all the singularity powers that you have because you're a Romulan are just super awesome. And you can fire while cloaked. Alright, so here is the Tulwar Bridge. Not as, I don't know, not as wide as I thought. It's kind of like tall. It's tall, but it's really kind of narrow. So there's our view screen, which is just looks painted on. That looks really terrible. We got two consoles up here. It's a small view screen too, pretty small for a ship this size, because this is a gigantic ship, and that's something to keep in mind. Compared to other starships, this is a massively sized ship, and you'll see that when you're in space in comparison to other ships. Yours is just massively big. So we can contact our duty officers and do duty officer things from the bridge. What can we do here? We can get in our small craft, a shuttlecraft, right from the bridge. So that's important, and that's good. Let's go up the stairs. Can't do anything there, can't do anything. So really from the bridge, all we can do is two little things there. But apparently there's more to the ship we can explore. So let's do this. Let's see. Let's go... Oh, let's just go straight back here, apparently. Can't do anything there. Oh, this is the Thalaron generator room. So it's right behind the bridge. But I can't open the Thalaron generator, can I? I can access my account bank. I can access library files to do those missions that require that. Oh, I can open it. Oh, just like in Nemesis. That's the Thalaron generator. That is really cool. But man, to have a device as powerful as that right behind your bridge, that's kind of scary. So this is where Data gave his life, and we mourn. Let's give a moment of silence for Data. Amen. We miss you, Data. So, I can't jump in it. It won't let me. So there's the Thalaron room. Can't go back here. So that's all we can do from our bridge here on the Tulwar. Not a whole lot accessible. Less than I thought. Thought there would be more, but there you go. There's the bridge. Let's leave, and then we'll look at my build. Now, as we look at my build, as we're fixing to look at my build, remember, I never claim my build is the best, or the best for you. Only that this build works for me, and makes me happy, and does for me what I need it to do. So here's what I've got. I have a beam build on this thing. Now it can do cannons, but it doesn't turn fast enough to do cannons. I mean, I think a lot of people probably have tried cannons on it because it can do it, and cannons are great. But this ship just turns too slow for cannons. You're going to want a lot of firepower from your side, you know, doing broadsiding and all that kind of stuff with this ship. It's built as a tank, so you're kind of meant to just sit there, fire all your weapons, and do all your things. So here's what I got. I went with plasma. Why did I go with plasma? Because there's several ways on a science ship and a science character to improve plasma damage, and I don't have all those ways enabled right now. But if you get, for example, the Romulan Singularity Harness, which I have right now, which is the 3-piece Romulan space set, if you get that, there are buffs to plasma damage. Okay, if you get the Riemann Advanced Prototype Impulse Engine, Deflector, and Shield, there's a 2-piece bonus called a Prototype Plasma Projectile that improves your plasma projectile weapons. Okay, so again, plasma. And because I have a science ship, I could go to my fleet embassy and I can get science consoles that will boost or buff power to plasma damage, as well as science abilities like particle generator for exotic damage and stuff like that. I don't have those on here because I'm out of science consoles, because they're being used up by all my unique consoles from all 3 Dreadnought ships. But if I took some of those off and or changed things around, I could have at least one of those consoles in there, again adding to my plasma damage and adding to exotic damage or something like that for a science ship. So several ways to boost plasma damage. So that's why plasma is really good on a science character here. So that's what I went with. Now I went with the fleet beams, advanced fleet beams. They are Mark 12, damage times 2, accuracy times 2. So that, and I could have gone with the new Romulus Reputation Romulan beams, but these do more DPS than that. These do more damage because they're fleet weapons. They have more modifiers. Those in the new Romulus Reputation lack one of the modifiers, because one of the modifiers is something else that's built into the weaponry itself. So you lack one of those modifiers. But with this one, I can do damage times 2, accuracy times 2, get the best of all worlds. So the fleet weapons was the most powerful to go with. Now, as for this one, this was the Experimental Romulan Plasma Beam Array. This is from the new Romulus Reputation. This is required as part of the Romulan Singularity Harness Space Set. And of course, as a Romulan, I'm trying to do a Romulan-themed ship, a Romulan-themed character, and I want everything Romulan that I can on this ship and on this character. So, the Romulan Singularity Harness set has a 2- and 3-piece set bonus that are very appealing to me. So anyway, first here's the Experimental Romulan Plasma Beam. That's part of it. So again, that's a plasma beam, so it just makes sense, you know, to go with plasma everywhere else. You want to keep your energy type the same. And then the Romulan Hyper Plasma Torpedo is again a plasma torpedo, and you want to keep all the energy types the same, right? And then, this torpedo is just so sweet. I'm going to show you this in combat. I'm going to show you the high yield, and I'm going to show you the spread ability of this thing. It's super sweet. Then you've got the 3rd piece to the Romulan Space Harness set, and that is the 0-point energy conduit. It in itself increases your critical chance, resists shield and energy drain, and adds power to all subsystems. So that's pretty cool. All 3 combined, you get a set 2 bonus called Plasma Conductive Circuitry and a set 3 bonus called Plasma Hyperflux. Now, Hyperplasma Flux I have found not to be too useful, but I have found Plasma Conductive Circuitry to be very useful. That is a plus 7.6% plasma damage added to your weapons, and a plus 15.2 Starship Electroplasma system, which basically improves your power transfer rate, which is very important on a beam boat. You want that fast, EPS or power transfer rate there. So this helps with that, and that's just the 2 pieces of it. Now the 3rd piece adds another ability you can enable, which is basically like a beam overload for your Experimental Romulan Beam Array. So you don't necessarily need to waste a bridge officer power on beam overload, because here you have plasma hyperflux built right in. So you have this button you can hit, and it will deal increased direct damage from that beam array. So you don't need something like beam overload. Now you can save it and do like fire at will, for example, instead. And so now I have basically both beam overload and fire at will, because I have that built-in plasma hyperflux as part of the set. So you see, win, 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 all up the scale there. Now for the space set, or my deflector, impulse, and shield, I went with the Riemann set. Now there are 2 sets in the new Romulus Reputation. There's a Romulan set and a Riemann set. They are exactly the same, pretty much. Well, they're the same. Let me put it this way: they're the same. They have the same set bonuses. The set 2 and set 3 bonus are exactly the same. They vary a little bit in their deflector stats, and I think they vary a little bit in their shield stats. But I went with the Riemann one because it fits more of this character and this starship that I'm flying and a science character in general. And I feel pretty much, even if you're an engineer or a tactical character, that the Riemann set itself is still probably the better set than the Romulan one. This gives plus 30 to stealth, resist, hold, disable, knock, repel, and slow. Improves knock, repel, and slow, improves hold and disable. Unfortunately, it does not improve hull strength, and it does not improve exotic damage. But it's still a good deflector. And when you add the 2-piece and 3-piece bonus to this, that makes it all that more worthwhile. Impulse engine is pretty good impulse engine. It does add a flight turn rate buff as well to your ship. No complaints really about the engine, and the shield is what is really awesome about this set. It has because it's a covariant shield, it has one of the highest capacities of shield in this game, period, bar none. That means we're going to have a high capacity shield. On top of that, the 3-piece bonus, the covariant capacitance cell, is going to give us a stacking shield hit and power damage buff to our shields. That is incredible. It's almost up. Let's go to info. Let's first look at the 2-piece bonus. By having 2 pieces of those space sets, I'm getting what's called a prototype plasma projectile. And oddly enough, but thankfully, having 2 of those pieces does give me an increase to exotic damage. So there's my better Tychon's Rift or Gravity Well right there, just from having two of the Riemann pieces on there. So that's sweet. So you actually do get an exotic damage boost, but you have to have 2 of the pieces. You don't just get it from 1 piece. Some of the sets have that enabled in like 1 of the pieces, but this one you have to have 2 of the pieces, but still you get it. But here's what's really awesome about this as well. This enhances your high yield plasma torpedo. That means you're going to get an increased flight speed out of your torpedo, and that's good because those things can be slow, but you're going to have a faster torpedo now and an increased defense on that torpedo from your starships and all or your enemy trying to take that torpedo out before it hits them. So that improves your high yield plasma torpedo, and that goes in combination with the Romulan torpedo. I forgot the name of it already, and it's really good. Now here's the part I really like, and you're going to see this thing in action. You'll see the visuals for this. This will apply by itself, but it's a covariant capacitance cell, and when receiving all damage, and actually when we go into space, you'll see this changes to 100%. But we're going to get plus 5 current shield hit points and plus 5 maximum shield capacity. That doesn't sound like a lot until you read that it can stack up to 10 freaking times. Holy crap. And when we go into space, you'll see that this changes to a 100%. I'm going to have a 100% chance of applying this ability. So it will just apply all the time. It is super up, and it's really sweet. And it's my newest favoritist thing ever in this game right now. I don't know how to make that more clear. It's my newest favoritist thing in this game. And it's the first time I used it was literally like yesterday. And I'm like, wow. I like it. Why haven't I ever used this thing before? Because it's super sweet. Now, as my Singularity Warp Core, of course, I needed a really good warp core to coincide with a science vessel, boosting aux power, shield, and all that stuff. I decided to go not with a Fleet Spire Warp Core, but I went with a Fleet Dilithium Mind Warp Core, and the reason why was because the Fleet Spire Warp Core has something called, you can get an ACAP or auxiliary capacity, but that's like a battery. And what happens is when you go into combat, your base auxiliary power is still the same, but it doesn't change or raise or go higher until your singularity power level increases. And then as that increases, you hit a button and that takes away from your singularity power and puts that into your aux power. Well, that don't work for me. I want instantly high aux power as soon as I go into battle. I don't want to have to wait for my singularity power to go up and then hit a button and then get extra aux power. By that time, I've taken out the enemy. There's no point in it. I want to fly right into battle and hit my gravity well as soon as I fly in. That means I need a high auxiliary power from the get-go. What allows me to do that was the Fleet Dilithium Mine Warp Core, because it has was especially the reinforced Singularity Core specifically, adds +5 to 12.5 shield power and +5 to 12.5 auxiliary power. So even with my Singularity charge level at 0, just adding this warp core has increased my shield power and my auxiliary power by +5. That's a flat out power bonus just from putting this warp core on. So I have a higher aux and higher shield power with this Singularity core right out of the gate. Then as my Singularity charge increases, so do those power levels also increase. And I don't have to hit a button for that to transfer the power. It just automatically raises the power in those two fields as my Singularity charge increases. So it's a win-win-win situation all around. I highly recommend this if you're a science vessel. The Elite Fleet Reinforced Singularity Core. You can only get it from the Dilithium Mine. Now as for the modifiers to the core, I got one with PG, which is particle generators. That's +17.5. That improves exotic damage. So now I've got this thing improving exotic damage in combination with the two pieces here improving my exotic damage. So that's a lot of exotic damage improvement already. And I could add even more if I put a science console in. And I love this ability, AMP. Plus 3.3% all damage for each subsystem with 75 or more power. You will see this being enabled as we're in space. It's called like something synergy or something like that, like power synergy or something. And it'll be a little icon on your ship when it's enabled, and it enables for me quite a lot. And it's really awesome, just more damage. I got better turn rate while in slipstream. I don't really care about that. But the jump modifier, I like this one, increases the effect of your Singularity Jump's accuracy debuff by 100%. So that's going to help, and I love to use that Singularity Jump. So I use that a lot, so that's why that jump there is really going to help me. And then I got one with ECAP, which is an engine power buff. Because I'm a slow turning or slow moving ship, I thought, well, if my Singularity power is high and I need to augment and get more power to my engines, well, now I have a button that will transfer that energy to my engines and get me moving a little better out of the situation or into a situation or whatever. So I felt that was the best way to go. So in other words, I love this warp core. For my rear, 2 beams, and the kinetic cutting beam. I love to have the kinetic cutting beam and the universal console together so that I get the Omega weapon amplifier buff. What does that set ability do again? That gives you +10 current weapon power when it activates, and a +500 weapon power resistance and maximum weapon power resistance. So again, really good for a beam boat. I don't have reactive deflection because I don't have the Omega Torp. But I do have the Set 2 bonus, Omega Weapon Amplifier, really good for beams. Okay, now for the consoles. I do have a field generator to increase my shield capacity even more because I love shield capacity. On a science character or a science ship, you get a higher shield modifier. But on this one, it's really not that high. It's only 1.1. But other science ships, they have an even higher one. And these are the 3 pieces that make up the Scimitar special abilities. Each one came from a different ship. So I have the Singularity Distributor Unit. This enables shields while cloaked, decreasing your penalty to cloaking from your Singularity power by 50%. So I can turn on shields while I'm cloaked. It's not really necessary that I do that, but and I never actually have done it, but I can if I need to. This one is secondary shields. I love this one. This one allows you to turn on a ring of secondary shields around your ship. Gives you even more protection. Love it. This one is fire weapons while cloaked. I love this one. I don't really use it much, but it's there. I can enable it and I can fire on ships while I'm cloaked. So, hooray. They can't even attack me because I'm cloaked. I don't use it that often, but it's there. But what I like about it is the 2-piece and 3-piece bonus. The 2-piece bonus is rapid maneuvering thrusters. that increases my turn rate by 2. And when leaving Romulan Battle Cloak, you retain the cloak's bonus to turn rate for the same duration as your cloak ambush lasts. So very good ability there. And then third, you get the big ability of the ship, which is what it was made for, is the Thalaron Pulse, where it does a lot of damage. Now, a lot of people don't do very good with Thalaron Pulse, and the reason why is because they're not buffed right for it and they're not using it correctly. As you can see, the skill ability that affects this is exotic damage. So all the things I've done to boost exotic damage are going to help my Thalaron Pulse as well. Like it's going to help my Gravity Well, it's going to help my Tychon's Rift, it's going to help my Thalaron Pulse. But also power level is extremely important, and people often overlook auxiliary power level. Get that as high as you can when you fire the Thalaron Pulse, and you will do a lot of damage. It's just a matter of power and buffing exotic damage. I have done both, so I am very good at it. The tactical consoles, I got 2 tactical vulnerability exploiters from the Fleet Spire, critical severity, and they do, of course, plasma energy weapon damage. I can't have 3 of them, unfortunately, because I do like to have that assimilated module on. And for the hangar, I went with, of course, the advanced Romulan, drone ship. And I wish it had actually kind of, well, you know what? I say that I was going to say I wish it had 2 hangars, but you know what? This does launch 2 at a time. Or 1, and then you can launch another one. And these ships are really good. They can turn into the enemy ship you're firing on, so it looks like them, or an enemy of that enemy ship. So, like if I'm fighting Tholians, one of my drones will actually turn into like a Tholian fighter, and the other one will turn into a Klingon like bird of prey. I'm serious. And then they'll fire appropriately at the Tholians. And when I'm fighting Borg, they turn into little Borg drone ships, little Borg probe ships, and fire on the Borg with those type of weapons. So this is awesome. Now there is a better version of this. I have the very rare one right now, but there is an elite fleet version, which is just so much better. But I don't have the fleet credits and dilithium to get it right now. But one does exist, so I could get that and make this ship even better with that, but I don't have it yet. Stations. Again, I am disappointed at the lack of a Commander Science station, because as a science ship, you want Commander Science. So the best I can do is this Lieutenant Commander Science station. And for that, I'm only able to use Gravity Well 1 and Tychon's Rift 1. Now, if I had a Commander station here for Science, I could do Gravity Well 3. That's what I want, and that's what I have on my other Science character, but I can't do it here. This ship lacks that ability, and that sucks. So, that's all I can do. I'm just stuck with that. Transfer shield strength to get my shields up. Tactical team. It does have a Commander Tactical Station. I felt the best thing to put in there was Attack Pattern Omega. That gets me out of tractor beams and holds. Helps me turn a little faster and move a little faster and get to places a little faster, because it's a slow ship. And I had someone train me in Fire at Will 3, so now I've got Beam Fire at Will 3, which on a ship like this, that's what you want, because you got a lot of beams. Torpedo High Yield 2. I wish I had High Yield 3 or Spread 3, but I don't. Only High Yield 2 and only Spread 1. That's the best I can do. Engineering Team 2, Weapons 1, Hazard Emitters 2, Polarized Hull 1. That's my setup. At this point, for everyone who has stayed with me after this very long rant about my ship, boast about my ship, whatever you want to call it, I'm happy about it, though. I really am happy about it. Thank you for watching. Now let's look at what we've got in space. We're going to take a look at the powers. We're going to take a look at the stats and everything here in space, and then we'll do a little bit of combat. So here's that thing I was telling you about, Synergy Amp. That's what it's called. That's the amp ability of the Singularity Warp Core. The plus 3.4% all damage for each subsystem with 75 or more power. So it's on right now just by itself. So, sweet, huh? I got that. I got a new thing. Prototype plasma projectile. Remember, my high yield plasma torpedoes are now improved, faster, more defense. I have that plasma conductive circuitry, so I got higher plasma damage. All that's just on right now because I have all those bonuses going and everything. Here's my power levels. You can see I have had power level problems on this character in the past, but I've gotten it up into a respectable level. Now, it will be better once I finish a certain reputation, Nukara. Once I finish Nukara, when I get to tier 4, there's a thing here I can add called Auxiliary Power Configuration Defense. This will add starship shield performance, structural integrity, and hull plating to my ship. So that will add power. I've also got, or you could go offensive. You could do energy weapon, projectile, and weapon training. But I'll go with this one. That'll increase my, that'll really help once I get that, once I get up there. And I also don't have the tier 3 one right now. That's a ground one anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I am tier 5 Omega, tier 5 New Romulus, and I don't have any on Dyson yet. Okay, so I'll show you how the warp core does affect the both the shield and the auxiliary. 67 shield, 61 auxiliary. Take the warp core off, goes down to 62 and 56. So you'll see this warp core flat out improves shield and auxiliary power just by having it on. That's what I wanted. I wanted a warp core that would boost, especially my auxiliary, just from putting it on. So there we go. Okay, so let's look at what we've got. I've got the visuals on, of course, for the let's get away from our body so we can see what we're doing. I have the visuals on for the Riemann shield effects. So that's what the Riemann shield effects look like on the Tulwar. Very, very greeny. If I turn it off, that's what it looked like before. That's the veteran skin right there is what I have on the ship. So that's with the shield effects off. And then with the shield effects on. Now the engines also have a visual, but it's very small. If I turn the impulse engine visuals off, you'll see that the stream of green things is not here. I don't know what else to call it. The streamers of green are not there. If I turn this on, I have the like 4 streams of green engine stuff coming out from the middle. That's all that the engine adds, and the deflector does not have a visual at all. Okay, so here are my stats. We are at 3,000 crew, 50% crew recovery rate, 3,000 alive crew. We've got 195% power transfer rate. My hull is at 55,000. Remember the base hull on this is 40, so that's being boosted quite a bit by things. It could be higher. I would like to see 60,000. Hull repair rate is 144. My shield capacity is now a lot better at 14.2. Still not as high as I want it. I would like to have another field generator, but I don't have room for it, so can't do that. Resists and all that. Crit severity is at 77%. Crit chance at 6. Bonus accuracy 25. Movement stopped. We're stopped right now. Let's go to impulse. My turn rate is 10.4 if you want to compare that to your ship, and I do have full impulse going, or not full impulse, but you know, full impulse, whatever you want to call it. 10.4 for the turn rate. So I can cloak. While I'm cloaked, I can hit this button, which is called Cloak Barrage, and I could, if there were enemies nearby, I could fire right now on the enemy if there were enemies nearby. Bam, 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 bam. I can do all that. And uncloak. Secondary shields. Watch this. Oh, another ring of shields around my ship. Sweet. I can launch my drones. Launches one drone, and then you have to wait for it to cool down, and you can launch another drone. What else can I do here that's unique to the ship? I ran out of button space. Here's the plasma hyperflux. I can do that. It's kind of like beam overload. I could hit that, bam, use it. And here's the engine capacitor. that would give me extra engine power based on my singularity level. Now, my singularity level is 0 because it doesn't go up until you're in combat. Now, when it's in combat, I have my singularity powers, which are awesome. This one right here, the Singularity Jump, is the one I love the best. And that, again, is one of the modifiers on my warp core to improve that. But if you need to protect yourself even more, you've got that quantum absorption thing you can enable. So imagine enabling quantum absorption plus the secondary shielding. You're going to be you're going to be able to take a lot of damage in your ship. So the only thing I can think to do right now is to show you these abilities in combat, and that's what we'll do. I want to find something kind of tough, but I don't want to have to queue up for a PvE or anything right now because, well, that's what I'm going to be doing in the next video anyway. So, where can we go that's kind of tough, but easy to get into? Oh, I know what we can do. These are good for testing things. We'll do one of the systems here.
Jolan True. Security, we...
In the Taldewa Sector Patrol. Yes. Oh, and I know. No, I won't do that one. Let's do... any of these will work, really. Let's just go here and do one. This will show you... This will show you. This will put our ship to the test. I think this one's even fighting Romulans on this first one here, so Remans against Romulans. Maybe we'll just make this a standard. We'll just do this for each video, maybe. You know, when I just show starships, because this will give us a platform to show you how the weapons work. So here's what I usually do. I launch my drone and I go cloak. Okay. Then I fly up to my enemy. Try not to drain power if I don't need to, but I'm going to have to do a little bit now. And go to town. So I'm going to do spread first. Come on, a cloak. There goes tons of plasma torpedoes. There's the Covariant Capacitance cell. There's the high yield torpedo I just did. Check that out. Oh yeah. So the Covariant Capacitance cell, there it is. It's stacking 2 times right now. Now it's stacking 1 time. Now it's stacking no times. Huh. So that pattern of green stuff was the Covariant Capacitance cell, and boy do I love that thing. There it is again. See, it's always doing it. It's always, it keeps my shields up really high. Taking a lot of damage. It's only stacking 2 times. It can stack 8 more times. But look at my shield power right now. I'm going to use the Thaleron. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Oh, come on. I'm going to do that. Alright, watch it go. It'll take out all these ships. Well, unless they fly away. Come on, anytime. It takes so long to activate. There we go. All the ships that were inside of it, at least, got destroyed.
Target shield has failed.
Those 2 got out of range. But if those 2 had been within range, the Thaleron Pulse would have worked. And I always enable the secondary shielding before I do Thalaron Pulse, because it kind of puts you in place. Kind of holds you right in place when you do it. You can't move when you activate the Thalaron Pulse. It takes 7 seconds to activate. It's very long. So I recommend doing Gravity Well when you do that. So that way all your ships kind of stay in front of you, because that's the main problem with the Thalaron Pulse, is your enemy can fly out of range. If you have a lot of enemies, though, yeah, use the Gravity Well. That'll hold them in front of you. If you're fighting a big enemy, like a Dreadnought or some big capital ship, that's also doable, because they don't move out of the way as fast. I want to do one more system, since we're right here, and this is going swimmingly. It's hard to talk and concentrate and do this all at once, but I'm going to kind of keep quiet now, and I'm just going to go all out on this one, and just watch how fast I can take these people out. I'm not even gonna talk right now. I am just going to focus on this.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed. Shields have failed.
Oh, not bad for a science character, eh? Not bad, huh? 5 groups? 4 groups? No, it was 5 groups, wasn't it? Taken out. Just like that. And that is how you successfully fly a Tulwar on a science character. Oh yeah, pretty powerful thing. When you really get it going and you're in there and you're fighting and you're doing your thing, you can do a ton of damage with this ship. Well, that's just my introduction video, so thank you all for watching that very lengthy and talky video. I know it was a lot of talking there. The next video is going to focus on the 3 Borg STFs, Infected Space, Cure Elite Space, and Kittimer Accord Space, and I'll put them back to back. I probably may not talk a lot during them because I want to be focused on using the ship's powers as much as possible. It's hard to do when I'm trying to talk, but we'll get to it. I want to try to use as many of the powers as I can to show off the ship for you. There's an intro. I think you're going to love this ship. Stay tuned for that video. That will be a lot of fun. After we do the Borg, then we'll do the Voth. So thank you, and stay tuned for the next one.